Homeopathy is the most interesting thing I've come across in 25 years of medicine.
This is the method of healing without side effects.
I've spent 18 years working in a hospital and in my own practice, and this has shown me that homeopathy is the simplest, finest and cleanest method of making people healthy.
For me, homeopathy is the medicine of the future.
Die Kritikpunkte an der Homöopathie.
The main criticism of homeopathy is that there's no conclusive evidence, in terms of present-day knowledge, which validates homeopathy in therapy.
Für die Homöopathie in der Therapie gibt.
Homeopathy is, for me, the best way of healing, and I'm saying that out of my experience, which is having seen already about 200,000 cases the last 40 years I'm practicing homeopathy.
For George Vithoulkas, homeopathy is more than a method of healing. Homeopathy is his life. The 66-year-old Greek is considered one of the world's best practitioners of this form of medicine. In 1996, he was awarded the Alternative Nobel Prize. He travels around the world, gives lectures and writes books, and he treats the sick. It doesn't leave him much time for fishing.
Germans do not realize that most probably they have produced the greatest man in history. For me, he will be the greatest individual who benefited the planet.
George Vithoulkas was talking about the man who founded homeopathy, a method of healing which some swear by and others rigorously reject. Today, no less than 200 years ago. His name, Christian Friedrich Samuel Hahnemann. Born in 1755 in Meissen in the east of Germany. Profession, physician. Samuel Hahnemann has a lot of children and doesn't earn much. To provide for his family, he has to do translations. He's proficient in 7 languages. In his search for work and an affordable place to live, he moves around a great deal. Hahnemann has great reservations about the conventional medicine of his time, which consists mainly of bloodletting and administering emetics and purgatives. He devotes a lot of his time to chemistry. In one test he carries out on himself, he establishes that in a healthy person, the bark of the cinchona tree triggers a kind of fever that resembles malaria. But a substance obtained from this bark, quinine, is used to treat malaria. From this, Hahnemann deduces that the bark causes a kind of pseudo-malaria, and that is why it helps combat the disease itself. And this is how he develops the basic principle of homeopathy. Sibilia, sibilibus, currentur. Like cures like. After countless experiments on himself, he's convinced that sick people should be treated with substances which in healthy people produce similar symptoms to those of the disease in question. In university lecture halls, his findings are largely dismissed. He's not granted the professorship he had been hoping for. Undeterred, Hahnemann continues to develop his systematic method of treatment. He calls it homeopathy, from the Greek homoion pathos, similar suffering. This differentiates it from orthodox medicine or allopathy, which is aimed at opposing the symptoms of any disease. The remedies carried around in the old pocket first aid kits were made from many different substances. From animal substances, for example, but also from minerals or metals. In that respect, nothing much has changed. Over 60% of all homeopathic agents, on the other hand, are based on fresh or dried plants. This even includes poisonous plants, such as belladonna, deadly nightshade. Medicinal plant gardens don't have to be very big. To produce homeopathic drugs, even tiny quantities are sufficient. First of all, an original tincture is made from the various basic substances. There are about 2,000 different tried and tested homeopathic active agents. In homeopathy, every new agent is first tested on healthy persons. The symptoms ascertained in this way together create a specific drug profile. If a patient exhibits these symptoms, then, according to the homeopathic law of similars, this is the substance that's exactly right for treating them. Making medicaments in line with the strict rules laid down by Samuel Hahnemann involves manual work. The special feature of the process is that the original substance is progressively diluted. Homeopathic practitioners call this potentiating. One part of the original tincture is attenuated by 9 parts of a water-alcohol mixture, and this is shaken up thoroughly 10 times by tapping the container against a firm base. Then 1 part of this is taken and mixed with 9 parts water and alcohol and shaken up, and so on and so forth. After a great deal of potentiating, the result is a bit like the proverbial drop in the ocean. It's virtually impossible to detect even a single molecule of the original tincture anymore. But homeopathic physicians believe that precisely this process of potentiating enhances the remedy's healing power. The special method of shaking up the solution is intended to charge the preparation with energy, to dynamize it. The idea is that the active agent leaves behind a kind of imprint which is stored by the water's memory. Decisive is not the scientifically tangible, but the immaterial aspect, a sort of energy content beyond the threshold of what is provable.
Homeopathy as a therapy does not focus on treating the substance, that's to say the illness. Our approach is not taking something out of the substance, the human material, and making a diagnosis. Instead, we seek out the essence of the sick person and then treat it with a particular medicine, whereby it's not the dilution to the immaterial which represents the immaterial, it's only the potentiating that counts. That's to say, the dynamizing, the powering of the medicine takes place in the essence of the medicine.
The essence or nature of a homeopathic preparation is not measurable, either in liquid or solid form. The active agent is dripped onto what are called globuli, little balls of lactose. The potentiated energy cannot be determined by scientific methods, or not yet, according to homeopathic practitioners. It won't be until sometime in the future that man will be able to establish how this power from nowhere actually functions. For the time being, the advocates of homeopathy are quite content to point to the efficacy of their methods. Homeopathic remedies are much cheaper than comparable medicinal drugs. German companies are among the world's leading producers. From Germany to Alonissos in Greece. Many years ago, George Vithoulkas discovered this island in the Aegean for himself and for homeopathy. In 1995, he founded the International Academy of Classical Homeopathy here.
I had to persuade the whole world that this was a valid system of medicine. And not that I have persuaded them now, still there's a lot to be done, that this academy is a means, is a tool through which this can be done. So in this academy I'm able now to give all the knowledge from A to Z in the people who are interested.
Similia similibus correntur, the homeopathic principle as a floor mosaic. This academy is a magnet for physicians and other homeopathic practitioners from all over the world.
Here corresponds on this line, that means if you push this element on this line, it will go inside.
George Vithoulkas wants to improve the standard of homeopathic training because he regards it as often inadequate at present, not governed by any uniform rules. In the past, the Greek expert was rejected even within the homeopathic community because he's not a qualified physician. Nowadays, though, he's accepted and recognized, even without a doctor's title. George Vithoulkas initiated a renaissance of homeopathy, and the fact that it's so widespread today is also thanks, at least partly, to him.
Then the body does not have any more that possibility.
He's a representative of classical homeopathy, based directly on Hahnemann's own teachings. Today, there are also various other schools. The participants in this seminar study individual cases, examine the symptoms, and try to determine the appropriate homeopathic remedy. One of the participants is a physician from Germany. Dr. Inge Göpfert-Geier back in her joint practice in Berlin. She's been working as a pediatrician for over 20 years. In the past few years, she's become increasingly interested in homeopathy. Only 1% of doctors in Germany are pure homeopathic practitioners. A good homeopathic physician has to complete many years of training. It's a method which requires intensive study. But in fact, many non-homeopathic doctors also prescribe homeopathic preparations without first acquiring the necessary expertise. Dr. Göpfert-Geier spent ages looking for an alternative to orthodox medicine. She had increasing doubts about the wisdom of conventional methods of treatment and conventional medicinal drugs.
What I observe again and again if I have to administer conventional medicinal drugs on a frequent basis is that they have side effects. For example, a child with chronic inflammation of the ear or with pneumonia, if it's given antibiotics again and again, it gradually loses its powers of resistance. It becomes ill again more quickly, and frequently it also suffers emotionally. On the other hand, when I choose the right homeopathic remedy, the child not only loses this chronic sickness, the child also becomes emotionally healthier as well.
Motivated by such observations, Dr. Göpfert-Geier is using homeopathic methods of treatment more and more. For example, with 8-year-old Yannick and his sister. Since birth, both children have suffered from neurodermatitis. After treatment with a homeopathic remedy, their chronic eczema disappeared. And the interesting thing is that both children were given a different homeopathic preparation.
Hustet nachts am meisten? Nur nachts. Können Sie eine Uhrzeit sagen?
Finding the most appropriate remedy entails long discussions in which the doctor asks detailed questions about all the symptoms. Everything is carefully noted down. It's not just Yannick's eczema that disappeared, so too did his extreme timidity. Ideally, homeopathic treatment influences not just the body, but also the mind and the soul. The homeopathic agent is meant to act as an intermediary substance, stimulating the body's powers of self-healing. Under the German health insurance system, homeopathic doctors are not recompensed for the greater amount of time they spend with each patient, so they often earn less than their orthodox colleagues. All the same, Dr. Inga Göpfert-Geyer is convinced.
Once you've seen how effective homeopathy is, it would be irresponsible to apply orthodox medicine.
If her financial situation permits, she wants to work exclusively on a homeopathic basis. In 1821, Samuel Hahnemann moves to Köthen, a small town in the east of Germany. He's now 65. His waiting room is always crowded. His therapeutic successes have earned him a reputation well beyond the borders of Germany. He has a growing number of followers. Among those who champion him is Ferdinand, Duke of Anhalt-Köthen. Hahnemann becomes the Duke's personal physician. In this capacity, he often visits the Duke in his palace. With his new form of medicine, Hahnemann has made many enemies among physicians and apothecaries. But under the protection of the Duke, he enjoys a certain freedom. For instance, he's now allowed to produce his remedies himself. He considers this important in order to ensure uniform quality. He had been forced to leave Leipzig because he was officially prohibited from making his own medicinal drugs, at the instigation of the apothecaries who openly opposed him. In Köthen, Hahnemann deals extensively with chronic diseases. While accepting that particular types of skin disorder can disappear after treatment with salves and ointments, he takes the view that the disease hasn't actually been cured. It has simply moved inside the patient's body. As a result, Hahnemann concludes the patient will later have other organic and also mental suffering. In 1831, cholera breaks out in Europe. Long before scientific awareness of bacteria, Hahnemann believes that the disease is transmitted by minute organisms. With hygiene and homeopathic treatment, he achieves amazing results, and his reputation spreads across the continent.
We don't claim that we can cure everything, but we claim that homeopathy would be best applied in the beginning of chronic conditions, in chronic stages. And then people can be spared a lot of suffering.
George Vithoulkas in the German capital, Berlin. Homeopathic practitioners are holding their World Congress here, and one of the highlights is to be a lecture by the Greek expert.
Details are not important.
In Germany in particular, he has many followers.
We should use our common sense. This is my answer. If somebody doubts, they can come and they can try it themselves and find out whether they are cured or not. In this matter, critics do not count. I was sick and I was cured. Now, whether you criticize or you don't criticize, I don't care. This is what the patients say.
Here, George Vithoulkas doesn't have to defend his views. Elsewhere, homeopathy comes in for a lot of criticism, sometimes polemical, sometimes phrased more moderately.
I judge homeopathy by the standards of pharmacology, and pharmacology is a discipline concerned only with active agents. And I'm afraid that in any experimental sense, active agents are something homeopathy doesn't have to offer.
So far, no scientific study has been able to prove the efficacy of homeopathic remedies beyond all doubt. So, is homeopathy based just on the placebo effect? Homeopathy is also used in veterinary medicine, but critics refuse to accept this as evidence of efficacy, saying that animals can also be influenced psychologically, in the same way as human beings. In some cases, though, this is difficult to imagine. On this farm in northern Germany, veterinary surgeon Dr. Achim Schütter was called in to treat a cow by the name of Umbeline. All of a sudden, she had more or less stopped producing milk. After excluding any possibility of organic damage, the vet administered a homeopathic remedy. Just 12 hours later, the cow was producing just as much milk as before. Following a second treatment a few weeks later, the effect was repeated.
There are such definite successes, and they occur so quickly after treatment that I can only say they must have been brought about by the homeopathic remedy. They can't have been caused by anything else. I've been applying this method for over 13 years now, and I have achieved success in so many cases, including cases which were regarded as more or less hopeless. And that has convinced me.
Are orthodox doubters simply protecting their own interests?
It's a whole complex of established medicine and pharmaceutical companies. Billions of marks or dollars are going towards this kind of research, and the whole of humanity is waiting to find a remedy that will cure cancer, a remedy that will cure AIDS, or a remedy that will cure any chronic disease.
George Vithoulkas has taken up arms against the medical establishment. And just like Hahnemann himself, the Greek expert is attacked for poking around in the wounds of orthodox medicine.
You have asthma, you have to take cortisone the rest of your life. This is not a cure. It's just suppressing the symptoms. So which chronic disease allopathic medicine has cured in spite of billions of dollars that have gone to research?
Hahnemann also refused to be deterred. In 1835, Hahnemann marries a young French woman and moves to Paris. In the French capital, he becomes a fashionable physician. Patients come from abroad to consult him. One of his patients is the Italian violin virtuoso Niccolò Paganini. In his patient's journals, Hahnemann keeps a scrupulously detailed account of the great musician's medical history. For the German physician, exile in Paris is a triumph. After decades of deprivation, Hahnemann now finally enjoys prosperity, and his successes make homeopathy better and better known. Samuel Hahnemann dies in 1843 at the age of 88. His grave in the famous Père Lachaise cemetery in Paris is a monument to a man who changed the world of medicine. In France, the new method of treatment quickly became established. In the streets of Paris, there are pharmacies everywhere selling homeopathic preparations. They are officially recognized, and sales of such products have been rising for years. For homeopathic manufacturers in Germany, France is a very important export market. But the practice of homeopathy isn't confined just to Europe. Hahnemann's teachings spread around the world. Its popularity is most widespread in India. Homeopathy reached the subcontinent even in the 19th century and quickly became established. Mahatma Gandhi was one of those who furthered it. The Nehru Homeopathic Hospital in New Delhi. Between 500 and 600 people a day come here for outpatient treatment. Over 500,000 people practice homeopathic medicine in India, more than in any other country. Homeopathic remedies are favourably priced, and the method doesn't call for expensive apparatus, important reasons for its broad base here.
It's almost a tradition. You have homeopathic hospitals and homeopathic pharmacies and homeopathic doctors in each and every town, every small village of India, and we have hundreds of homeopathic colleges in India, you know. So, and it's also official.
The hospital in New Delhi is also a medical college for homeopathy, with 220 students. The course of training in this discipline lasts 5 years. In India, about 17% of all doctors practice homeopathic medicine. Patients go straight to the hospital's own pharmacy to collect their prescriptions. India is a huge market for homeopathic medicines, and the country could pioneer the further spread of this method of treatment in Asia. Thanks to George Vithoulkas, homeopathy has gained in reputation. He's helped to give many homeopathic practitioners more faith in themselves. He's taken charge. He's imposed more stringent standards of teaching and learning. He looks forward to the future with confidence.
I believe the future is with homeopathy. There is no question about that. When this will come, when homeopathy will be established as the main therapeutic methodology, I cannot say. Maybe 50 years from now, maybe 150. But definitely, it will be the medicine of the future.
A bold vision, one that many may reject. But 200 years after Hahnemann's Similia similibus currentur, like cures like, one thing is certain. Homeopathy can definitely no longer be ignored.